Not only did they have pretty voices, but they were pretty to look at. In the glamorous world of 1980s R&B, few families sparkled like the Debarges. Not only did they have angelic voices, but they had movie star looks. Hits like All This Love, I Like It, Rhythm of the Night turned them into household names. But behind the high notes, the glitter, the eyeliner, there was a story that was far more complicated, and it was a little bit heartbreaking. After the success of the Jacksons, Berry Gordy and Motown were really looking for the next big artist, and these two families had a lot in common. Both families were extremely talented musically. They came from religious households, and there were a ton of siblings. When Ederline Abney was just 17 years old, she met and married 21-year-old Robert Debarge Sr. They lived in Detroit, Michigan, and together they had 10 children. Ederline Jr., or Bunny, Robert Jr., Bobby, Thomas, Tommy, William, otherwise known as Randy, Mark, Marty, Eldra, Elle, James, who by the way was married to Janet Jackson, until the marriage was annulled a year later. Then we had Jonathan, otherwise known as Chico. His song Egging Me was my jam. And to round up 9 and 10, we have Carol, Peaches, and Daryl. They call them Young. They're fraternal twins. Get it? Carol and Daryl. The kids were raised in a deeply religious household, but it was not peaceful. Several members of the family have spoken publicly about the abuse they endured growing up, including serious allegations of SA by their father. That kind of trauma is not just fading away with time, it seeps into everything: relationships, career, even their music. Eventually, the parents divorced, and Ederline took the kids to Grand Rapids, Michigan. In 1978, brothers Bobby and Tommy were in a group called Switch. Switch was signed to Motown Records, and they were fairly successful. Bobby was singing lead vocals, and he had a very high falsetto. His voice was unforgettable. It was fragile, soulful, but behind the scenes, Bobby was struggling heavily with addiction to smack. Truthfully, it seems like all of the siblings struggled with addiction at some point in their lives.